Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about this whole situation with LSU and Iowa. You saw the NCAA championship where LSU pretty much mopped the floor with Iowa, and it ended with some kind of interesting racial controversy where you had a situation with an athlete by the name of Angel Reese who kind of did a little bit of a gesture toward another athlete by the name of Clark. And it caused a lot of controversy. You know, as LSU was celebrating their brilliant win, you had some people who didn't like it so much, who were a little bit upset about it. Some people who were coming back and saying that's black girl magic, and some people saying no, that's trashy sports. But obviously, there's a whole lot more to talk about that. But anyway, here's the thing: nobody's talking about. This is what nobody's saying. The NCAA literally just got $1 billion cash cow handed to them, and it's all due to the fact that racial tension is profitable. I'm going to break this down for you. I'm going to prove definitively that the NCAA is going to make a few $100 million more in the next several years because of controversies like this. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboystv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm a finance guy, and my PhD is in finance, and I love to teach financial topics to my people and help us become the most economically intelligent people on the planet. If you agree with that philosophy, put a B1 in the chat. B1 stands for Black First. We love ourselves, and we're not apologizing for that. So anyway, how many of you, give me a yes or no, how many of you followed some of the controversy that happened with the women's NCAA championship this week? Give me a yes if you were kind of paying attention, if you had an opinion on it. You saw the situation where this really talented player, Angel Reese, got into a little bit of a back and forth, very kind of unfortunate, with another player by the name of Clark. Well, Clark is an absolute badass in basketball, and so is Angel. Angel was the player of the tournament, and Caitlin was the player of the year. So these women are amazing. These women are absolutely amazing. And in fact, I jokingly referred to Caitlin as the Great White Hype. And maybe some of y'all didn't get it. I talked about it on Twitter. My Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. And I'm going to kind of explain some of this to you in terms of why I referred to Caitlin as the Great White Hype. Now, this whole conversation has been really fascinating to me because I have never seen a time where this many people were talking about women's basketball. I saw Stephen A. Smith talking about it. Jason Whitlock's talking about it. I saw LeBron James talking about it. I saw all these people. I saw Viola Davis, the actress, talking about it. Hey, so everybody's jumping in. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got something to say about this whole situation that happened on the women's basketball court. What y'all don't understand is that this is amazing. This is really, really good for the sport in the sense that most sports elevate when you have a rivalry that people care about. The reason people care about any team is because they care, because they have something they're emotionally attached to. That's what makes the difference between a profitable sports brand and a non-profitable sports brand. Like I've been telling all these black athletes, all these millionaire, billionaire rappers bragging about how much money they have. I say, start a sports league. You know, remember the Green Bay Packers were purchased for about $150. The Chicago Bears were purchased for $500. How could they have purchased the Bears for $500 when they're worth $5 or $6 billion now? Well, the reason they were able to do that was because they bought the teams at a certain price and they made people care. They made people become emotionally connected to these teams. And then people began to buy merchandise from these teams. These people were coming to the games for these teams, right? And remember, black people owned our own sports leagues. We even had our own racing league that was like a black NASCAR called the Glory and Gold Sweepstakes, where you have black people making millions of dollars with other black people owning a sports league. So don't tell me how proud you are that a black person owns 2% of the Atlanta Falcons or that black people own 5% of the Denver Broncos. We used to own 100% of the entire damn league, and that's something that we gave away because because we believed in this nonsense, this fairy tale called integration. Now, with that said, let's circle back. Let's talk about this. So a lot of you have opinions about Angel and about Caitlin. I'm not here to talk about that. Y'all know me. I like to elevate the conversation. Whatever you think is what you think. My wife and I talked about it. There's a lot of back and forth. I'm team Black people. So, of course, I'm supporting Angel. I think Angel did a great job. I understood why she did what she did. It was what it was, right? But that's not really the interesting thing about this. The finance professor in me is popping in and saying, oh, snap. They have literally extracted a multi-billion-dollar opportunity here. The NCAA is looking at this and saying, ooh, look at the ratings. Look at how many viewers we had. Look at how much social media buzz we're getting. No one was buzzing about the last championship game. In fact, let me ask y'all a question. How many of you, if I ask you, who won this year's women's NCAA championship? Answer that question for me in the chat. Let's give props where props are due. What school won the women's basketball championship for the NCAA this year? Answer that question for me. Answer me in the chat. Everybody type the name of the school in the chat. Okay, Adrian says LSU. Good. All right, LSU, Elizabeth. Okay, thank you. Blazing Phoenix. Now I'm going to ask y'all another question. This is the hard one. Who won the championship last year? I'll wait. Ching boom. Let's see if anybody gets that right. Okay, I see USC, South Carolina. Okay, a couple of y'all know it. A lot of y'all don't know. And let's just be honest. Most of you probably did not know. Most of you didn't know. A lot of you didn't care. A lot of you didn't watch the game. Now, South Carolina was a great team. I think it was South Carolina. I mean, I'm taking your word for it. I see South Carolina everywhere, so I'm assuming that it was right. But a lot of people didn't know that, right? Some of you knew. Some of you are really supporting the sport, and that's wonderful. But a lot of people did not know. So here's what I'm seeing, right? Here's what I'm seeing right now. You know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing one of the biggest marketing opportunities that the NCAA has ever had when it comes to women's basketball. You know what I'm seeing? Let me show you a picture of what I'm seeing all over again. Anybody remember this? Who are those people in that picture? Anybody remember these guys? And does anybody know that this rivalry started in college? Does anybody know that? Anybody know that this rivalry between Magic and Bird was a gift from God? And I'm going to explain to you financially why it was a gift from God. This rivalry started in college. They played each other in the NCAA championship, just like Caitlin, just like Angel. They were both extraordinary players, player of the game, player of the week, player of the year, MVP of their teams, just like Angel, just like Caitlin. And this rivalry continued into the NBA. And let me tell you a little secret. Because of this rivalry, the NBA was saved from financial collapse. A lot of y'all don't know this. You're used to the NBA having all kinds of money, making it rain on everybody, signing $400 million contracts. Well, it wasn't always like that. Y'all don't understand. Before Magic and Bird came along, the NBA was in worse shape than women's college basketball in terms of support and fan following and attendance and all these other things. The NBA was on the verge of bankruptcy. They were in serious financial trouble. So as a result of the Bird Magic rivalry, it was a beautiful rivalry. It's white versus black. You got the Fighting Irish. I think my shirt says Fighting Irish. Don't ask me. Maybe I'm a buffoon wearing this shirt. I don't know. I just like it, though. But you have the Fighting Irish from Boston, you know, the feisty white guys fighting against the flashy black guys from L.A., right? East Coast, West Coast, like Biggie and Pac. Unfortunately, that was terrible, right? But really, you had everything that you needed to create an amazing rivalry. They even were able to make a video game or two off of this. They were able to make sneaker deals off of this. And let me give you some numbers to kind of help you understand what this did for the NBA. Before the Magic Bird rivalry, the previous deal the NBA had signed for television rights was $22 million a year. I think they got a 3-year deal for about $76 million. So $22 million a year. By the end of the decade, they were signing deals for $150 million a year for TV rights. They went from $22 million a year to $150 million a year. Now, I need y'all to understand this. Y'all know me. I'm always giving you financial lessons. I want you to see the money. To get the money, you got to see the money. So I need you to understand this. Let me ask you this. Give me a yes or no. Did the NBA players, did they suddenly get better? Like, did they suddenly have better basketball players than they did in 1989? Were the players dramatically better than they were in 1981 and 1980? Did something happen? Like, were they taller? Did they work harder? Were they more relevant? Did they have like a lot of different teams? Like, what do you think that they did? What do you think happened? It was the Magic Bird rivalry. That's what did it. And the Magic Bird rivalry kicked off not just bigger TV deals, they were doing merchandising deals. They had video games. They were getting corporate sponsorships. See, the Magic Bird racial tension, and they fed off that. They love the racial tension. The racial tension is profitable for these companies. They're like, oh, black people, white people going at it. It goes back to Joe Louis against Max Schmeling back in World War II. In fact, there was a whole movie made about it. Shout out to Method Man and Damon Wayans. Anybody remember that movie? Anybody remember this movie? What movie is that? Somebody tell me in the chat. What movie is that? It's funny. I saw this movie and I had a dream about Damon Wayans and Method Man. And I kid you not, this is a true story. In 2006, out of the blue, I got a call from ESPN the next day. Out of the blue. Hadn't talked to anybody at ESPN in my life. I got a call from ESPN. They said, we want you to come on a show. The show was called Quite Frankly with Stephen A. Smith. And I said, really? Okay, who are going to be the other guests on the show? I swear to God that this happened. They said it's going to be Damon Wayans and Method Man. And I literally had just watched this movie, and Damon Wayans and Method Man were both in this movie. This movie's called The Great White Hype. And The Great White Hype was this really great movie where they literally said, let's create some racial tension. Let's find us a white boy to challenge a black dude, and then we're going to feed the racial fire. We're going to feed people's preconceived issues and hangups and anger and all this. We're going to pour fuel on the fire and get them going. And guess what? At the end of the day, they're going to buy tickets. And they go buy merchandise. They go get T-shirts that says Team White Boy. They go get I'm cheering for the brother, right? And so all this emotional connection, all this attention, that's a financial commodity, black people. That's a financial commodity. That's just what it is. And I'm gonna tell you what, I don't really think the players even take it as seriously as the fans do. I think the fans are the ones who are sitting here riled up and mad about it. I think the players get it. I mean, Caitlin, I read their bios. Caitlin Clark is a damn good player. Woo, she's bad. And she's going straight to the WNBA. She's going to be around next year. The NCAA is going to keep talking about this rivalry going into March Madness. They're going to make a killing off TV deals because everybody's going to be watching to see what happens. Angel Reese is also an amazing player, right? So this is exciting to me because I'm a sports fan, and I've been wanting women's sports to get the attention it deserves because you don't understand how talented those women are. They're better than the men in terms of fundamentals. Like fundamentals, they shoot better, they pass better, they just do a lot of things better. So ultimately, I think it's going to be really great. It's going to be really interesting to watch. And I just want you to understand what's really going on here. That, yeah, there's the emotional part, like, oh, the black girl was right and the white girl was wrong, black girl magic and white girl this, but yeah. You can get into all that. But at the end of the day, there's somebody sitting around counting that money, somebody counting the money. So just understand that this is going to affect how they get drafted. It's going to affect how much they get on their first contract. It's going to elevate salaries of WNBA players all over because the team that signs him is thinking, okay, if I get this person, I'm getting a talented player and a nationally recognized brand and somebody who might bring some controversy to the table. So I personally think this is going to be interesting. I think this is going to be good for the sport, just like Magic and Bird was good for the NBA. Remember, without Magic and Bird, the Michael Jordan era never would have occurred. Without Magic and Bird and that racially tense rivalry, the Michael Jordan era never would have happened because Nike never would have put that much money behind one athlete. The idea of Sonny Vaccaro, and I met Sonny Vaccaro, and I know the CEO, the former CEO of the Jordan brand, Larry Miller. Larry Miller came to the last All-Black National Convention. He's a great guy. And let me just tell you, at that time, that was a huge risk for them to put all that money into one person and one shoe. But they did it partly because they saw the potential that emerged from the racially tense rivalry between the Celtics and the Lakers. So one thing kind of builds off of another. And I want you to just kind of process this as you're kind of watching how these sports leagues evolve and develop. Because my dream one day is not to see another black person get an NBA or NFL contract. My dream is not to see a black person own 2% of the Denver Broncos. My dream is not to see a black black person who's an executive in a sports suite. We've already got all that. I want to see us own our own league. I believe that if we got all this money floating around in our community, why in the hell don't we own our own sports league? We up here talking about how racist they are. Well, the reason that you're dealing with the racism because you can't build nothing. You're not committed to building anything of your own. The people that built the NFL went out and spent a few $100 to buy those teams, and then they made people care about those teams. The Hallis family put a couple $100 into buying the Chicago Bears, and then they made people care about the Bears. Now the Bears are worth $6 billion. You had another family that put a few $100 into the Kansas City Chiefs. After the Hunt family, within a generation, they made people care about the Kansas City Chiefs. Now the Chiefs are worth several $billion. So all this is doable. You just got to have some vision. Your ancestors did this 100 years ago. You need to be doing that again right now. So I'm not really excited. I don't really care a whole lot about the fate of the NBA and the NFL. I would really like to see us take ownership of the things that we're good at so that we can actually get the lion's share of everything. And so somebody says that's why Kobe got killed. Absolutely. Maybe that's why. Who knows? I'm not saying I don't care, but I'm gonna tell you, if you whenever you become really competitive, yeah, they're gonna come kill you. Yeah, they're gonna come fight you. Yeah, they're gonna come try to stop you. But what are you gonna do? You're gonna whine about it, you're gonna be sad about it. Like, well, man, we would have had something if they hadn't come along and taken it. Well, learn how to fight back. You gotta fight back. You gotta understand that no one will ever be happy for you when you truly are winning. Your haters will never cheer for you when you're finally standing on the victory stand and taking victory laps. Your oppressor is never going to sit back and say, oh my goodness, this is so delightful to see black people taking things that they deserve and taking things away from us. They're not going to cheer for that. So when you talk about, things that have happened, like they burned down Black Wall Street, they killed Kobe because, okay. People have been killed in battle since the beginning of time. The question is, are you still able to keep fighting, or do you allow that to make you a coward? So at the end of the day, we need some intellectual heroes. We need some economic heroes. We need some people that have the courage to build. Until you have that, you will always complain about racism. You will always be upset about how white people feel about you. You will always be mad that they're not treating you right when they're not even thinking about you like that. They're not even caring what you think about them. You care about what they think about you. And I need you to really process that. That's why when I was saying we got to be real careful in terms of how we talk about this whole situation with Caitlin and Angel, I don't really care what the white media says. Keith Olbermann, everybody's freaking out over what Keith Olbermann said about Angel Reese. Since when did Keith Olbermann's opinion actually matter? Who cares what Keith Olbermann thinks? Keith Olbermann is a washed out, irrelevant journalist. Are you going to really sit down and take stock of what every hater has to say about you? If you do that, then you're going to be taking stock for the rest of your life. You're always going to be depressed. You're never going to accomplish anything. And you're going to be sitting around crying in your own baby bathwater for the rest of your life. Put on your big boy pants. And remember, it doesn't matter what other people say about you. What matters is what you think about yourself. What are you saying about yourself? Are you a black person who needs white validation in order for you to feel like you are actually successful? Are you a black person who needs white people to cheer you on in order for you to feel like you're doing something good? Are you a black person who needs white media to say, good job, Negro, for you to really feel like you are somebody? Well, if that's the case, then that effectively makes you a white supremacist, because what you're doing is you're putting their opinion of you above your opinion of yourself. You're putting their opinion of you above the opinions that you have of each other. You're putting their opinion of you above the opinions that we have of our own community. So I don't do that. I have had white media tear me down like crazy. They've said all kinds of stuff about me that wasn't true, stuff that wasn't right, or whatever. I didn't spend one time crying about it because I understand how warfare works. I understand that as an intelligent black man who's spewing some pretty assertive ideas, I know that this is not going to be well received in an oppressive society. There is a society that has a vested interest in seeing you begging and borrowing and weak and broken. They love it. They love to see you begging for approval. They love to see you begging for resources. They love to see you mad about how they feel about you instead of actually building the thing that will actually make you sustain and make you whole. So you got to learn how to build. Teach your kids how to start their own business. If your child hates going to a job every day where they're being mistreated, well, ask them, why don't you go start your own business? And then nobody's going to mistreat you if you own the damn company. And it's really that simple. But for some reason, we've been trained to believe that our job is to sit around and look for love in all the wrong places, wait for white folks to decide to love us, beg them to tell us that Black Lives Matter when we haven't even decided that Black Lives Matter. We ain't even cleaning up the violence in our own hoods. But yet we somehow are waiting for white folks to decide that Black violence is somehow a problem. I'm not waiting for that. right? So I think self-determination is really important. So if you want to know how I feel about what happened with Angel Reese, here's how I feel. I feel that Angel Reese from LSU is super talented. She was fully justified in what she did. I totally get it. It was a heat of the moment. She was talking smack. You were talking smack. You won the game. And to the victor goes the spoils. That's all that matters. Do I care what Keith Olbermann had to say about her? No, I do not. His opinion means absolutely nothing. Well, anyway, guys, I'm about to get out of here. God bless you. Thank you all for listening to this podcast. I'm going to be in Houston on April 21st doing a 2-day Black Wealth Boot Camp. So if you want to join us for 2 days in Houston, we're going to do a deep dive on my new book. My new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It is an Amazon bestseller, and it is one of the first Black wealth training manuals that I've ever seen. And so if you'd like to take a look at it, feel free to go to Amazon. I think you're going to like it. And also you can join us in Houston by going to BoyceWatkins.com. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. God bless you. And thank you for listening. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV.